Hi there, welcome to my first video in the series of producing audio for radio and radio imaging. In this video we're going to take a look at getting a piece of audio that's just been recorded or a voiceover that's just been recorded, getting it ready and prepping it for further production. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to do two steps. We're going to do the first step, which is sort of generic that you can do for any piece of audio or any piece of voice. And then this next step we're going to do is something that's more specific for this voice, which is a deep male voice. I've had my buddy record a piece of audio and a voiceover for us. His name's Seth, and he has got a deep male voice. So let's have a listen to what he's recorded, and we'll go from there. Let's have a listen.
15 great songs in a row. Active AC on RadioKick.com.
All right, so the first step we're going to do is we're going to essentially we're going to delete the noise on the video, or on the audio, I should say. The noise is right here and right here. It's the stuff that the microphone records that isn't voice and isn't what we want to use. Now, a lot of people think that the noise being right here, all you have to do is turn it down to infinite. That works for the breaks, but what a lot of people don't realize is that that same noise is also behind the audio right here. It's also behind it. And in order to get rid of it, we have to run a noise reduction plug-in or feature. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to highlight just a piece of the noise right here. And in Audition 3.0, you can actually right-click and just hit Capture Noise Reduction Profile. It's very similar in other programs. You may just have to learn how to use the noise reduction feature. So what you do is you highlight a piece of the noise, and then all you have to do is double-click to select all, go to Effects, Restoration, and Noise Reduction. Now, the setting I like is right here. And all it is the default setting with the noise reduction level set to about 75 right there. And all you have to do is hit OK, and it's going to take the noise out of the audio. Now, it doesn't look like it's done much, but what it's done is it's actually removed the noise from the entire piece of audio. So even the noise that was behind this voice is not going to get bigger when we do any compression. It's going to be a bit better sounding piece of audio in the end. So that's the first thing that we can do. The next thing that we can do is we want to trim the edges of the audio. So right here, we're going to trim the silence off one edge by going delete. So we highlight it and Control D. No, that's not the one I want. I'm just going to hit the delete key. That'll work too. And you can go to this end and delete the same thing. And just because there's this big gap in the middle that we don't want,
Songs in a row.
I'm going to delete that gap in the middle. So it sounds a bit like this.
Songs in a row. Active AC.
So that sounds a bit better. Now we're not done. What we have to do is we have to, we've just kind of made clean cuts off the end, but we don't know what, how that sounds as far as breath and how it sounds as far as it being a complete phrase. So what we're going to do is we're just going to fade in the edges slightly. So, and fade in and fade out. So fade in one edge, and on the other end we're just going to fade it out. It's not going to make much of a difference now, but when we do a compression, it's going to end up sounding a bit better.
.com.
So what you do that? So what we do is we just fade it in. So now we have an uncompressed piece of audio. It's just it's just been recorded, but it's been cleaned up a little bit. The next thing we want to do is a bit of compression. Now, there's one plugin that I really like, and it has a really good result for getting audio ready for air. And that one is the Isotope multiband compressor that's included with Audition 3.0. If you don't have Audition 3.0, you can actually find this multiband compressor within the Isotope paid plugins that you can buy from Isotope. They come in VST and RTAS for Pro Tools. So you can actually buy this plugin. And the preset that I really like that Audition has is this broadcast preset. Now, I'm not going to go into the settings and get into that, but you can take a look and copy them down if you'd like. You can pause the YouTube video. And those settings seem to work really well with just getting anything sort of ready for radio. So this is always the first step I take when I'm doing it. It's a multiband 4-band compressor, so there are other plugins out there that you could use and just copy the settings in. And all I'm going to do is hit OK, and it's going to process the audio. and we're going to get a piece of audio that sounds like this.
15 great songs in a row. Active AC on RadioKick.com.
Now, that is sort of the generic portion of getting a piece of audio ready for air. So that voiceover, we could go ahead and start using that in production if we wanted to. But what we're going to do is we're going to process it a bit further. Now, it's a deep male voice, and a deep male voice is all right with imaging production, but what it can do is if you've got a lot of bass in the audio, it can or mids or bass, you can have trouble having it cut through the effects and the music. And since it's a CHR production that we're going to be putting together, we want it to be able to cut through really nicely a lot of effects and heavy music. So what we're going to do is we're going to essentially compress it one more time. It's going to be a little bit overkill. We're going to do that same compressor we did one more time. I have it on a keyboard shortcut here. So we're just going to hit that and do that compression one more time. It's actually going to sound a bit like this, a little bit overkill on the compression, but we're not done.
15 great songs in a row. Active AC on RadioKick.com.
Actually, it doesn't sound that bad, but we're not done. We want it to cut through nicely. And again, my buddy recorded this. When he recorded it, he was nice and close to the mic. So you get a lot of bass within the audio, and that doesn't cut through very nicely. So for a deep male voice, what we can do is we can run a filter effect. And I'm going to show you the one I use. It's the FFT filter. And all it is it gives you a little graph like this. And what I've done is I've taken out, I've turned the mids down and the basses down, and I've rolled off the bass right at the end. And what it's going to, and then from the highs, I've kind of got the highs at a generic level, and I'm bringing them up just as it slightly goes to the end of the spectrum on the high end. So what you get is a bit brighter sounding audio. And it's gonna sound a bit filtered, but it's gonna cut through a bit nicer. So let's do this effect right now. And I'm just gonna normalize it to 0. So let's go to Effects, Amplitude, and normalize to 100%. There we go. Let's have a listen to this audio and see how it sounds right now.
15 great songs in a row. Active AC on RadioKick.com.
So there we go. Now we've got a nice filtered piece of audio that we could use in imaging production. We could throw this right over the intro to a song, and it would cut through quite nicely. Let's do that, actually. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab the piece of audio that we were working on right there, and let's just grab, let's go to Edit, and let me grab in my audio. I've got some music here. Let's grab a song. Let's just grab Neon Trees Animal. Let's do that. Let's just throw the voiceover over the top of the intro, and you can kind of hear how it cuts through quite nicely. So I'm just going to turn that down slightly. And can you hear that? I can't hear that. Oh, why can't I hear that? I can't hear it there. Oh, I know why. I've got the wrong channel loaded. Let's do this. Now we should be able to hear it. Have a listen.
15 great songs in a row. Active AC on RadioKick.com.
So it's just going to cut through a bit nicer. It's going to sound a bit nicer on the air in the end. And after you put it through all the processing that happens in the signal chain for a radio station, it's going to sound quite nice. So that kind of concludes the first part of my video tutorial, and the first video tutorial here on tidying up a piece of audio, getting it ready for air. So I hope this has helped, and I hope you check out some of the other videos to learn more about radio production and audio production.